Today we're talking about shower rough-ins or tub shower rough-ins. So this is a Riobel R93. This is a two-way rough-in which has temperature and pressure built into it. So if you were to get a Moen, it would end up having a stack that would have one controller for temperature and another controller for the diverter for pressure, going to the different faucets and what have you. So these ones are pretty convenient. So the point of talking about this video is to kind of look at the 93 and compare it to an R23, which is a non-pro model. And the real difference is that these two parts are going to be stainless in the R93 Pro, whereas they're going to be brass in the regular model. And the cartridge does not come with a rough-in. The cartridge comes with the trim kit. So all you've got here is a plug for doing pressure testing, and then you've got a pair of valves so you can turn it off after you do the pressure test. Don't leave this thing pressurized for an extended period of time because it will fail and do damage. So you've got the more stainless in here, and the cartridges have a lifetime warranty, as well as the rough-ins, and then just a 5-year warranty on the trim kit. So your customer, yourself, whoever it is, can keep getting in the cartridges for the rest of your life. They just go into the store and ask for one, and they'll get one handed over. And so this guard here clips on, and it assists you in determining the depth that you need to be. It's also on the instructions here. So depending if you're doing a tile bath versus an acrylic tub, you do it a little bit differently. Doing a conventional install, you use some 2x4s and you will support this thing. You'll have hot and cold. I guess we're looking at the top perspective here because it's the hot there. And then there's going to be a shower output and a tub output. So a shower here, tub here. So tub to the bottom, obviously. And on the next page, they're going to help you figure out how to configure this thing. So this is a two-way valve. You can get a one-way or a three-way. If you should have bought a one-way, you will tie them together so that the output is always going to wherever you want it. And so you've got your option 1, option 2, or option 1 and 2, which is common for all of the different trim kits. And well, the X94 is just going to one at a time. You don't have the plus. But like I said, you can get three-way valves or one-way valves as well. It tells you need a 3 7/8 hole or a 3.5-inch hole, depending on which way you're going. So you should keep one of each of those in your van so you can get that done, or you do it by hand, whatever you want, I guess. And so you're going to do a pressure check with the valves open, and then you're going to lock it down after that. So you can see here, if you got a tub, it's going to be to the one side, and the temperature is going to be the center, the smaller knob that's facing you. If you look in here, there's two knobs. So you have to explain that to people the first time you use this faucet, what the two are. So the small one for the temperature, or the one facing out further, you generally kind of set it and leave it. Like between people taking showers, they shouldn't need to move it very far. It should be kind of where it needs to be for the most part. And then the big one on the back, they're going to spin it to where they want it. And like as they're approaching a position, it's going to get more pressure. It's not going to get any hotter. So they just put it where they want it for pressure. And then if they have a recirc system, they'll have hot water quickly. If they don't, they're going to be waiting until the hot water gets where it needs to be. But they don't need to touch the temperature. It's going to get wherever they left it last time. So if it's a dedicated shower, that's super easy for the person. They'll always have the setting that they want, what they had previously. So that's sort of how they work. And like I said, the R23 is just not quite as nice. It's not gonna have as much stainless components. Riobel is coming out with Pro, not the drop ears like this, but the drop ears that go on the outside of the tile. They're making a Pro line of that for whatever reason. They're trying to differentiate the two lines. Like Moen has that as well. They've got like their XL line and a regular line for some products, like the Genta. We've got different sizes in this bathroom actually. So this is an XL version, it's much bigger. And then the box store version is like half the size. It's like freaking weird. It's embarrassing, it's annoying. So we're not using Moen anymore because it just got frustrating trying to figure out what's good. And they have different finishes. It's not only the size is different. Whereas if you go with Riobel, all their stuff is good. And it's not like really hard to make it all work together. Whereas, like I said, with the Moen, you're going to end up having to have a special diverter plate with 2 diverters in it, and got to make it all join together, and it's going to be kind of weird. So this is all in one piece. You don't need to worry about stuff lining up. You stick it to the wall. We're coming away from a tub install where they kind of lopped out the 2x4 and ran the shower up the side because to make it kind of in the middle. I'm going to have to probably use a skill saw and trim this 2x4 as close as I can to the wall, and then put a new 2x4 in. You can see I soldered in some new stops. I'm just going to bury them in the wall after the job is done, because that's just the closet on the other side. If there's ever a problem, people will find that those valves are in there. There's more stops in the basement. So that's good. And so in this case, it's a good time to take advantage of access under the tub. So what I've done is I've got some speaker wire you can kind of see there. And I've roughed that in through the house, and I can get a long distance into the entrance and get the speakers set up. And I also cut like a big square underneath of this out, so I can lift up the floor and insulate the floor. And the pipes in this house are kind of noisy in this area. So I'm going to be just restraining them so they don't make any noise from water hammer. Make that a little bit better. And yeah, if you're converting to a shower pan and retaining some tile, what you may want to do is think about where you're going to join the old work and the new work. So you can't do it in a corner like that, because like you're going to have like 2 faucets going in here at the same time, and you're going to end up getting water into that corner. So what we're going to do is actually remove the rest of this here, and we're going to make the join from the drywall to the Ditra around here and tile over it. And that way I can make put in a 2x4 brace for the glass that's going in, because you need to be able to support that. And the joint for the Ditra to the old work is not going to be in the water zone of the shower. Then you can also insulate in the floor joist area and the wall area and make things as good as you can. I'm also running a not a speaker wire, but like a 18-2 wire for electric curtains or blinds. So that's going to come up and come out here, because this gives me an opportunity where I can drop down to the basement with just a couple holes in the this center story wall and get that wire in. So that's good. Otherwise you'd have to go through the attic, and then you're going to have a top plate in the way. You can't come down to a window. You got to come up to a window with the wiring in most cases. So that's good. I'm going to map out where all the 2x4s are. I'm going to put in a bunch of bracing. We need to have brackets for grabbing onto it. I'm only in my mid-40s, and we have one in our bathroom, and it saved me before. So that's something. I had to put a block in there for a stair railing that was just stuck in the drywall. So again, an opportunity to improve things when you've got the wall open. But yeah, so I think you'll be happy with Riobel. You do need to explain to people how it works because it's not a Moen or an American Standard. But once they get it, I think they will be happy. So that's sort of the way to go. And they've got nice stuff. You can get all kinds of options. And it's a bit pricey, but it's good. So you get what you pay for, in my opinion. So again, hopefully you found that useful. Thank you for watching. As usual, I remembered something I wanted to say, so we're back. If you're putting in a shower pan, you're going to want to see whether the tile comes down far enough that you've got an acceptable drip edge. So what I'm going to do is probably put some 1/4 inch plywood underneath this shower pan to raise it up, maybe a 1/2 inch plywood, so that I can get the tile down past this tile flange a little bit further. And this one is fiberglass with a foam inset, and it's kind of squeaky, so I'm going to have to put something to make it less squeaky. That's something to do. And then you also want to use like a big level and just check the flatness. Do this quickly here. We can demonstrate it. So you're just going across the face of the 2x4s and determining if you have any gaps, if you need to shim anything out or not. And in my case, I need to shim out this entire wall so that the drywall comes down flush against this pan, and then the tile drops in past this tile flange. You can't collide with it. It needs to scoot over it. So you got to kind of lay all that out as well. So when you're doing your bracing and all of that, you're also checking for square and for flat in a bunch of places. With age, like these 2x4s have twisted a bit. However, it's still flat. So that's pretty good. So you want to have that all ready before you put in your D-tray. You don't want to be goofing around with things like that. You want each layer to be right so the next layer can be that much easier to install. So once again, thank you for watching.